Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right, Scorpios. First off, happy full moon. This is the deer rutting moon. This is also a super moon tonight. So I hope you guys are enjoying the super moon. Now, with that in mind, I want to look at how this super moon is maybe bringing things up from the subconscious, specifically in regards to things like relationships. Okay. So we have a Seven of Pentacles, we have a Queen of Wands, we have the Hierophant. First off, if there has been some serious growth in the personal development of personal confidence, I feel like we got a crown chakra wide open. We have all of the chakras aligned right now. We have everything is kind of clicking into place. I feel like there's a real truth being revealed about Scorpio's own personal worthiness and the way that they hopefully do feel about themselves. Our Queen of Wands is like our sexiest queen. That Hierophant is our connection to our higher self. This can also be matters of like marriage and things like that, things that we would really sign our names to, belief systems. But if there has been like this slowly like burgeoning belief system, slowly blossoming sense of self-confidence and certainty about one's attractiveness and yes, of course I'm marriage quality, of course I'm freaking amazing. I would say that this is coming more to the surface for Scorpio right now. I actually think this is somebody much more empowered. Truly, naturally. Thank you for being here. So nice to hang out with you this evening. It's absolutely delightful. Thank you. Thanks for spending your time with me tonight. We got the Death card, we got the Empress. Big, big major arcana energies. So we know that this is no small message. I mean, we got a Queen followed by three major arcana, and that Seven of Pentacles says this has been a long, slow cooking realization that is just being brought to the surface right now during this full moon. And I mean, not to frost Scorpio's cake here, but Scorpio's amazing. And Scorpio finally realizes that. Yes, I am marriage material. Yes. I don't know which Scorpio needed to hear this, but if they were walking around saying, oh, maybe I'm not that good in a long-term, relationship, or maybe no one ever asked me to marry them. Darling, that ain't because you aren't worthy. That's just because probably you outclassed a lot of people and they weren't going to ask you to marry them because they knew they weren't vibing with you. And I think Scorpio's the last one to know this. Scorpio's the last one to have this, figure this out. Like, oh, all this time I was either worried I wasn't going to be good in a long-term relationship or worried that somebody somehow wouldn't want me. And I think all that is dissolving because the truth is here. I mean, this is Scorpio changing the way they look at themselves. This is, I think it's common for all of us to like doubt, like we see how the movies go and it's like, God, my life doesn't really look that much like a movie. Yeah, nobody's life really looks like a movie, or, the social media stuff that we see. And it's like, oh, my life doesn't look like theirs. And then you find out a lot of those supposed perfect relationships are shams, or you find out a lot of stuff that's presented is not legitimate. So our very real life is more real than the perfection that we see shown to us. But if that's what we're judging ourselves next to and saying, well, I mean, certainly no one want to be married to me. Like I don't have a perfect six-pack ab or whatever it might be. All of that is like ridiculous to be setting like standards for ourselves that we judge ourselves by someone else's supposed life or real life. I mean, that our life is not anybody else's, but none of that makes us somehow less likely to be successful, particularly in matters of love or long-term connection. And it just feels like we have a Scorpio who's like, that's right. There's nothing lacking in me. There's nothing that, isn't fairy tale enough about me to be able to have a really happy long-term relationship. I keep thinking that this was more about Scorpio needing to know that they are a real catch. That's what it looks like. And Scorpio has maybe deep down known that this was something they needed to like develop or just be able to acknowledge in themselves. This is not to feel so pompous or anything. That's not who Scorpio is. They're not feeling pompous. They're just, I think, finally feeling like I've grown into who I am. I don't, even if it's taken me a while to meet somebody, or if I still haven't met the person that I want to spend a long-term relationship with, or if I had a marriage and it didn't last, none of that means that it's because I'm not good at it or I'm not marriage material. I don't know. I just feel like either the Scorpio had a lot of like negativity projected at them and they knew it wasn't true, but they still had to work through that thought process. And it's taken a bit of time. This is Scorpio finally like acknowledging what they've known deep in themselves all this time. Now, if Scorpio wants to be single, they can do that too, but it's not because they're not a good long-term partner. It would be because they choose that. And that's the other thing to like fully embrace and not feel like I'm only doing this because I can't be successful in a relationship. No, it would be what Scorpio actually wants, not because they could be successful wherever they wish to be. Scorpio has always known that, but it needed to come to the surface, and this full moon is bringing it up. And I think that knowing it, acknowledging it, like actually embracing that about ourselves, that gives Scorpio that next, like, I'll say burst of energy to live whatever life they want with gusto. Whether it's like, yeah, I could be great in a relationship, but I love being single. I want to stay single. And I'm fully embracing it. And I'm taking this leap with the Fool's card. I'm doing whatever I want. Now, this could also be Scorpio is saying, I am ready to date. We did just get a 6 of Cups. This is soulmate energy. Hey, Kins. Hi, babe. Nice to see you tonight. That 6 of Cups being upright is huge, like kind of flood or rush of, I'm not even going to say adrenaline, just like a nice excitement that, yes, there are soulmates around me. And yes, I think if I'm confident and I'm knowing that I definitely could have a successful relationship now because my subconscious has known it all this time, I'm revved up. I'm ready to maybe be more overtly flirtatious. I'm ready to go ahead and, put myself out there. If I feel like reaching out to somebody, even if it's somebody from my past, whatever, an old flame from, 25 years ago, why not? If I've been thinking about them, why not? This really does feel kind of like a pep talk type of energy for Scorpio. Scorpio just needed to reclaim who they actually are, their sexy, vivacious selves. We have a 5 of Swords that is sideways. Definitely think, if anything, because this can be conflict, but it can also be the conflict that we create in our own head where we talk ourselves out of stuff. If Scorpio knows that somebody's a soulmate and there's somebody that they want to connect to, maybe this is somebody that they had conflict with before, but if Scorpio's like, yeah, but that's the person I want to end conflict with, maybe they were the reason I thought I could never have a long-term relationship, but I know maybe at the time that was me in my own head. And honestly, I'm not afraid to talk to anybody from my past. If I want to clear the air with somebody, I absolutely can. It's not going to shake my confidence in me. But if I need to clear the air, I can do that. Chariot in the reverse. I don't think this is Scorpio saying, I want an ex back. I think this is Scorpio closing out a cycle, and they may want to send somebody a message from their past to say, you know what, I wish you well. You were an important part of my life, and I just wanted to get it off my chest. I wish you well. I don't see Scorpio moving toward that person per se, but I might see them closing out a cycle so that they can like welcome in a new cycle. And this is more for Scorpio. This isn't because they're like, oh, I want that ex back. Now they may also simultaneously reach out to some other person, like I said, like an old flame from a long time ago that they actually want to talk to for the purpose of restoring a connection. But there's something about closing a chapter, closing a cycle, breaking a cycle that we see here. Queen of Pentacles, all of this just gains more stability, and now Scorpio's life like blossoms again. Now it's like they're back on a roll. They're back on the journey. They're back feeling super grounded. And, when we feel empowered and grounded and we feel like a successful individual, I always think that's when we can say, nice things to other people. We can bury the hatchet. We can be, it doesn't cost us anything when we feel really secure to wish somebody else well from our past. And it doesn't feel scary for us to choose to reach out to an old lover that, whatever we came across on Facebook and we haven't talked in 25 years just because, it was an old flame, but then life takes us in different directions. We're confident enough to reach out and be like, oh my God, I was just thinking about you the other day. I had to reach out to you. If Scorpio wants to do that, they'll do it. Scorpio's got their normal Scorpio vibe back. Scorpio's very sensual. And with sensuality usually comes a sense of confidence. And I think that this Scorpio, for a little while, that had been tampered with and they got it back. That's what this particular full moon is about. Scorpio got themselves back. Oh, I think that they've got fun times up ahead. Hi, Brian. Nice to see you. We have got an Ace of Cups in the reverse. We got a King of Cups in the reverse. We have the Moon upright, perfect for the Moon, and we have the Knight of Swords. I will say this. There is someone out there in Scorpio's realm, Scorpio's world, that made Scorpio feel this way, because this is our Scorpio, right? That damaged Scorpio's self-love for a period of time. And that person doesn't know how much they impacted Scorpio. And I don't know that Scorpio is ever going to tell that particular person, but I do think this is Scorpio connecting to their own self during this full moon and saying, wow, I can't believe that I had hidden that from me, that I had really been shaken. I can't believe I let it impact me so much. That's crazy that I stopped giving myself self-love. That's crazy that, I'm definitely going to make up for lost time now. I'm definitely back in the swing of things, but I can't believe there could have been a Pisces maybe or maybe a fellow Scorpio. I'm just looking at the two, clock towers, and I'm wondering if Scorpio, unless it's just a metaphor for Scorpio, kind of was their own worst enemy for a period of time, not loving themselves, not allowing themselves to feel lovable, telling themselves a negative story. I would still argue, though, that came from somewhere. And this is what Scorpio is getting beyond. This is what they're not blaming anybody else. They're letting somebody else go out of their life, or giving them, forgiveness just for themselves. Say, whatever happened between me and somebody, it did make me stop loving myself. But you know what? I didn't have to do that. And I forgive me for letting it hurt me so much. And now I'm onward, and this is my turning point. It's such a huge comprehension. And I don't think Scorpio's ever going to wobble backwards again to that. This is them very swiftly moving on, almost like after this full moon. I feel like this whole chapter of their life is going to be forgotten, and they're just going to be living their, nice 5.0 upgraded, transformed version of themselves, where I feel like Scorpio is going to be so freaking happy and so bold and so sensual and so, ready to interact with soulmates again, and just ready to live a really nice life again. I do think that they kind of, cheated themselves out of some happiness that should have already been theirs, but it was because they went through something really painful, and it really shook their own confidence for a little bit. And I think what's beautiful about the Scorpios, even if they had every right to be mad at somebody who contributed to that situation where it shook their confidence, the Scorpio isn't. They're just saying, nah, you know what? I'm strong, and I'm never going to let myself beat my own self up again. That's how I'm going to handle this. I know I'm sexy. I know I'm good. And I know that I'll never let somebody else take away my confidence like that, or I won't surrender my confidence like that. In the meantime, let's get back to some life. Let's get back to some love. And I just think that Scorpio's got a really nice next chapter right after this full moon. I feel like this is a very cathartic full moon for them. This is something where they're going to feel so much better after this. And so much, I could picture Scorpio wearing lots of rust and gold and goldenrod, mustard color and burnt orange. And we see somebody who maybe even has red hair. There's lots of earthy tones and very, I mean, obviously we're in November, so in the northern hemisphere, everything is turning, gold and russet and red, the leaves and everything. It's like everything is earth tones. I love this time of the year. Oh, it's one of my favorites. October is my most favorite, but the beginning of November is still amazing too. And I just feel like there's this earthy quality here that's just so satisfying. All right, you guys. Brian, that's awesome. Good choice. You're wearing an orange shirt right now. That's so awesome. Let me just check one last thing. If the universe had one message for Scorpio right now, the Lovers. How nice is that? And yes, of course, I picked a yellow deck. I didn't really mean to, but I did. And she's all in green. This is the time for love after this full moon. This is a time for Scorpio to play again, to engage again, and to flirt. I feel like Scorpio is very, very attractive and very adept at the art of seduction and flirtation, but with sincerity. This doesn't have to be like anybody who's like, wow, can't wait to go break some hearts. It's not that. It's just maybe our Scorpio hasn't felt this attractive in a long time, and it's like, I'm back. I forgot. I know how to be smoky. I know how to be confident. I know how to, sashay across a room and let people notice me. It's very nice. Project FEV. It's so great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Are you in Turkey? Oh, that's awesome. You're in Istanbul. I missed Istanbul when I was there. I was only ever in Turkey once. I spent some time in Kuşadası, and I totally missed and Ephesus, of course. Beautiful, beautiful piece of history. Oh my God, Ephesus was amazing. But that's so awesome. Shout out to you in Turkey. Turkey, excuse me. I should say it right. It's wonderful to have you here, babe. Thank you for reminding me of such a beautiful trip that I took. Again, Truly Natural, Kins and Brian and Project Fev, thanks for being here. All right, you guys, happy full moon. Aries just arrived, so I'm going to take him out, and then I'll be back, and we'll still do Ophiuchus tonight. All the other zodiacs have been done, all 13 with the exception of Zodiac being the 13th, or excuse me, Ophiuchus being the 13th zodiac. So, all right, you guys, I'll see you again in just a little bit. Bye for right now, guys.